Spring is in the air. Today's going to be warm enough for me to get into the pond, so I'm going to give it a clean. G'day, my name is Kev. The aim of my channel and website is to help people build and maintain ponds without spending a fortune. Over the autumn and winter, leaves have accumulated in the pond. A lot of the stuff's been captured by the DIY skimmer, but not all of it. Most of it's already been broken down into smaller particles. The majority of this stuff is no longer releasing nutrients into the pond, so it causes no issues to the water clarity. However, it makes sense to remove it at least once a year to prevent the pond from just becoming a sediment pit. So to clean this pond, all I'm going to use is an aquarium net, a bucket and my garden hose to rinse off the skimmer sponge. You could use a pond vac, but this pond has small 7mm gravel, so all that debris just sits on the surface. When I cleaned out my other pond, I used a vacuum, as the 20mm pebbles allow that small sediment to settle in between the cracks. If you don't have a vac and you've got that larger pebble, you could use a siphon and a long hose. I'm still not sure which size gravel I think is better. The 20mm's cool because it lets that stuff fall in the gaps and you don't see it, but I'm not sure what's going to happen once all the gaps are filled, so time will tell. So all I do is get into the pond and slowly scoop out as much as the debris as I can get. This pond's only 4 metres by 3 metres and it's about 60 centimetres deep at its deepest, so it's easy to get in and clean. I actually enjoy it. The pump is a low volt model and I feel comfortable keeping it running while I'm in there working. The reason I like to keep it running while I'm in there cleaning is that as I move about, I'm stirring up the bottom. A lot of that sediment I'm stirring up that I don't capture in my net is getting pulled over into the DIY skimmer. Here you can see some of it is clumping together on the surface of the skimmer where I can easily scoop it out, and some is getting trapped in the sponge. I remove the filter sponge and rinse that off. I'm not worried about destroying the bacteria on the sponge, as there's plenty in the pond and up in the bog filter, and that's where I'm headed to next. While I've got the sponge out, I'll just make sure the filter cage on the pump is clear of debris. Once the sponge is clean, it goes back in and just starts collecting debris again. I do have a video on how I built this cheap yet effective skimmer. If you want to check it out, I'll link that down in the description. So then everything that has snuck through the sponge ends up in the bog filter. To clean that out, I remove this pipe to send the water over the top of the filter. Normally the water is being forced from the bottom up, but now I'm moving the water from the top to the bottom. Again, this is a cheap DIY design. I'll link a video going into more details if you're interested. Anyway, with the water moving down through the filter, it's pushing all that trapped sediment to the base, where I have a clean out valve. This I keep open until the water coming out is as clear as the water going in. You could use this water to water the garden. Then I just reconnect the elbow fitting so that the water is forced back down into the base of the filter. If the bog plants were getting crowded, I would thin them out, but this bacopa is fine right now, so I'll just leave it as is. And that's my pond maintenance done for spring. If you want, you could add some beneficial bacteria, but it's not necessary as we didn't do a full drain and clean. If you lost a lot of water flushing the bog filter and you need to top up the water with mains, you'll need to use a dechlorinator. I had a forecast for a lot of rain coming, so I just allowed that to top the pond off. So now in a few months, the pond should look something like it did last season. If you want to check out how this pond was built and all the components that I used, check out the linked video that pops up somewhere on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.